Welcome to the Marriage Puzzle Podcast. I'm Thomas.
I'm Julie.
And today we are going to be having a discussion, Q&A style, about some questions around pornography and how it relates to marriage and solo intimacy. So buckle up.
Here we go.
Yeah. So let's just kind of get straight into it. I don't think we need much more of an introduction than that.
Yeah.
So we've just got a handful of questions here. We'll go through, we'll ask. We're not necessarily asking these to one another for any specific reason, just to kind of put it out there, spark the conversation. And so if you're new with us, welcome. Go ahead and follow and stay for the whole episode because it's going to be a good one. Let's start with the first one. So is watching pornography considered cheating, a harmless solo outlet, or a destructive addiction?
So this is like a multiple choice, A, B, or C?
Or all of the above?
Oh, yeah. So is it A, cheating, B, a harmless solo outlet, or C, a destructive addiction?
Mm-hmm. I think the answer to this could depend on context as well. So I think, to answer C, a destructive addiction, yes, it's probably that in almost all cases, especially if you're, not single. It's definitely something you can be addicted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but, since we're a marriage podcast, we now know that that's one answer.
Yeah.
So let's break it down between the other two, cheating or harmless solo outlet. What do you think?
Well, it's not harmless.
It's fair.
It is a solo outlet, which I think we'll get into with some other questions. A solo outlet doesn't have to even include pornography. So that's what I would define it. It is a solo outlet, and it is not harmless.
Okay.
So it's a harmful solo outlet.
Okay. Is it considered cheating?
So again, you need context. We don't know the context of the question, the context of the situation. I think for me, it is as hurtful as cheating to feel like that was chosen over the relationship and the intimacy with their spouse. But I think it is a lot easier to work through and overcome and stay married through it than an outside cheating affair.
Okay. I see where you're going with that. I was gonna interject when you said it was a lot easier to work through, and I was gonna be like, no, I don't think it really is. But in comparison, I think
hurt is there.
Right.
The work through, yes, you don't just say, oh, that's, old me and new me. Like, that's
right.
A constant, through coaching and counseling and transparency, working with your spouse. And I don't want to take away, that's when, the emotions are the same. It feels like you went to someone else, something else. But when you say it's then more of that solo outlet, that's why I think it's still easier to work through and stay married.
I do agree with you. I would take a slightly stronger stance on it, though, that I do think that it would fall more on the side of cheating because I don't really look at it as a solo stance. Like, it's not a solo outlet, in my opinion, because you are interacting and connecting with that screen in an intimate way, with that video, with that picture in an intimate way. That doesn't seem solo to me. Like, that's not just going based off of your memory bank.
That's good.
I think that I don't think it is solo. I do agree that it would be probably easier to work through than someone, one spouse stepping out of the marriage into an affair with, one or more than one other person, because you really can put safeguards in place for something like this to help work through that and break through this addiction. So I would agree that it is definitely a little bit easier to work through. The hurt is still going to be the same, but I do not think that we can sit here and call it a solo outlet, because you're choosing to go interact with some imaginary person that you're not with and fantasize in order to have satisfaction.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's solo.
I
in my opinion.
wasn't trying to make light of pornography or endorse it at all. So to be clear, I was just breaking down the options we were given on the ABC. So if your number one answer would be like, it's A, it's cheating. Pornography.
Yeah, I think if I had to, I guess the way I look at it is, if it's already a destructive addiction, we've already established that pornography is a destructive addiction on your own, as an individual, whether you're married or not. How could putting a destructive addiction in your marriage not destroy your marriage, so thereby effectively cheating? Like, let's think of a drug addiction, compare it to a drug addiction, that could very well be a destructive addiction, and it's going to also destroy your marriage.
Yeah.
And so, if nothing is done about it, I should say. So I think that it's virtually the same. I mean, obviously they're two totally different circumstances. I'm not trying to make light of one over the other, but if you would consider, hard drugs being a destructive addiction that would destroy your marriage, I don't think this is any different, and therefore I would classify it as destructive as cheating.
Absolutely.
Yes, still easier to work through, easier to overcome, but I would consider it as destructive, easily.
So then question 2 kind of piggybacks off of that. Solo satisfaction versus shared intimacy. Is it healthy to choose yourself over your partner when you're in the mood?
This is a good question, and I wish we would have had cameras rolling, a little while ago when we were kind of reviewing notes, and we almost
asked each other these
we kind of talked through it. We almost came up with a whole different podcast episode just around this question, but we feel like we can fit it all together here. I think that there is a deeper issue in this question than just choosing yourself over your partner. Now, that's a big question. If you word it that way, if you're choosing yourself over your spouse, is that healthy? To answer the question straight up, no. If you're legitimately saying, no, my feelings and my satisfaction is more important than yours or your satisfaction, or ours and our satisfaction, then no, it's not healthy.
Right.
To answer the question point blank. But I think there are some potential deeper issues in this question that would come from a few different scenarios. One of which that I brought up offline was an initiation versus rejection problem in marriage. And we've had other podcast episodes centered around this. You can go back and find those. But I think there's a big conflict of who should initiate. There's always this little bit of tension in every marriage about one spouse having, more libido than the other, and wanting to, and initiate more, or wanting sex more often. And the one who wants it more often is typically the one who's forced, so to speak, to initiate more often. So let's take that scenario and say they have to initiate because they're the one who wants it more frequently, but they get rejected, let's say 50% of the time.
That's generous.
Just easy math.
Okay.
Let's say they get rejected 50% of the time. That's going to start weighing on them before they attempt to initiate in the future. As time goes on, that's going to wear on them. They're going to start feeling this, like, is this a day that I'm going to get rejected? Well, maybe I just won't even worry about it and I'll go do this myself.
Okay.
And so I think that's one scenario that could heavily center around a question like this, where it's still going to be unhealthy to choose yourself over your spouse, but the root of the problem is different than just self-satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a communication problem, there's an intimacy problem, there's probably a deeper connection problem missing in your marriage, more so centered around other things than just sex.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot to unpack, because I think if
Told you it was worth a whole other episode.
Yeah, we need a this is like a behind the scenes conversation, between you and me, because it was like, when these questions come in, you're like, why would someone choose themselves when I'm here and
Mm-hmm.
you're married and it's safe and appropriate? So, and you say it that way, of like a rejection problem, then that's eye-opening, because I'm like, oh, I'm guilty of that. And I just think, like, it's just not going to happen that night or that day. We'll reconvene, in a couple days. But if you're like, I need a release, I'm in the mood, and you get rejected and rejected and rejected, then, you're going to stop asking. You just go to a solo act. We'll call it that. Then I now feel like, knowing that, discussing that, then I have a responsibility of pushing you. I might be pushing you to a solo act, to turn to pornography, and that has been...
which could evolve into something more.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh my goodness,
And
I'm here. So there's so many other ways we can discuss that need, instead of rejecting you and silently pushing you to a...
Sure, and I just want to be careful to not make it like, if that is going on in your marriage, I don't want someone to feel like, oh, you're the first domino, then all of a sudden your marriage goes off a cliff.
Right, or it's an excuse.
There's some on-ramp here. There's also grace and forgiveness that happens in this that are very important to have. I jokingly said this offline, but there are times where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe if I'm the one who wants it more often, I can't just be like, oh, well, you've got a stomach bug, so I'm going to go, like, that counts as rejection. Like, you can't form it to benefit you.
Right.
Like, there are times where you need to just be strong enough as an individual and be like, you know what, my wife's sick. That's a bummer. I was really, looking forward to having sex today, and it's just not going to work out. Mm-hmm. So let's check in tomorrow and see how they're feeling. Let's be realistic, people.
Right.
Like, don't like I said, don't cater this towards yourself to make it beneficial for you to go do this. Where it's like, don't justify it. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. Don't just find reasons to justify. Oh, my wife's working late. She's not going to want to, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this myself. And come on, like, just wait a little while. Like, but knowing, like what you said, is also true, that if rejection continuously happens over time, it's going to drive more and more of a wedge and start driving someone that way. So this is a discussion that has to be had in your marriage.
Mm-hmm. So if the question is it healthy to move to a solo act instead of intimacy with your spouse when you're in the mood? I mean, there's so many factors. Even if you're not in the mood, we've had seasons in our almost 20 years of marriage where we just could not have sex.
Mm-hmm. Usually after babies are born.
After a baby, if you've been there, that's definitely recommended.
Everybody's been through COVID.
There's been times, even around the baby still, but I was on bed rest for a long time. That, like, sometimes sex will put you into labor, so people are like, let's get this baby out, and we were told the opposite, like, do not come near me, I need to hold this baby in to cook longer. So, just name your season, right? Name your excuse, your true reason of not in the mood, the time of the month for a girl, like, whatever it is. I just, like, this was still an eye-opening question, because in those extreme seasons, we had solutions. We had ways, we did a whole episode of, how to be intimate when you can't have sex.
Right.
And gave, take a bath together, snuggle, cuddle.
Yeah.
Being naked, and it's okay if you can't lead to fully intercourse, but what can I do to stay connected with you or and help you and not put that like, that's gross that you need that and I can't get that right now, or I don't want that right now. But no, we are a team. We are partners and forever spouse, so let's be intimate together, even if that looks different, instead of a solo act that I'm not part of.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that you have to find alternatives when there are real reasons that you cannot. And I think that, you know, if you're using excuses, then it's not a real reason, right? There's your line. If you're making something up in your head to justify it, that's your reason, or that's your justification. That's your excuse to go and do something. That should be a red flag to you. That like, hey, maybe there's a problem here. Maybe we should like scale this back, try and have a conversation, and figure this out with my spouse so that we can get together. Because maybe the problem is just as simple as you want it 4 times a week and they want it 2 times a week, and you can meet in the middle at 3. Or, you know, maybe you want it 3 and they want it 1 and you can meet at 2. Maybe it's as simple as that. And, you know, like you said, there are all kinds of other options for intimacy. Because intimacy is not just sex. And I think we did a whole episode titled that. So go check that out if you want some more details on that. But I think there are a couple of other kind of scenarios surrounding this one that, you know, maybe we can touch on a little quicker than this first part. But, you know, we had this conversation offline about, you know, oftentimes women just think about it less than men. And I think that, you know, that's something where if that changed a little bit, then I think there would be a lot less rejection. And, you know, maybe this goes both ways. I can't speak to that, you know, from a male's perspective. You know, I would say I think about it more often than you do. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay. So speaking about it solely from those perspectives, if you think we're wrong, chime in the comments. Talk to us about it. We'd love to hear additional opinions. But since we're the ones with the mics, we're going to be talking about it.
So not to stereotype, but we would think.
From our perspectives individually, I think because I think about it more often, that leads me to be the one to initiate more often. Which, if you're not thinking about it as often, then you then have to make a decision at the time of initiation of yes or no, which then kind of puts you in control of it, at least in our marriage. So, you know, flip the roles, however, but that's kind of how I'm seeing it. You know, if I'm having to initiate, that puts you in control of the decision of if we get to or if we don't get to.
Right.
And I think if you're thinking about it more, if you can find ways to help yourself think about it more, then that's going to make it less of a decision for you and more of a, you know, joining in rather than, I'm thinking about it too, let's go. Like, versus, okay, tonight's fine, kind of a deal.
So I can be in control of, or the wife can be in control of initiating more, talking about it more, and not rejecting it as much. And those are even subtle. Like, I don't have to say no with my words for times that you know not to approach me. You know, if I'm pulling away from just a simple touch, then, you know, that's rejection.
Sure, but why are you pulling away? There's a deeper issue in that needs to be communicated. What happened to cause that? Did we get into a fight earlier and I'm ready sooner than you are? Is it that time of the month for you and I just don't know? Where are we? What's the real issue? So I think that again, communication has to improve. If you're just pulling away, that's not fair for me to then have to be like, okay, well, maybe if I try it this way, like, because from my perspective, okay, I'm like, well, you didn't like that, but maybe this will work.
You're gonna still
just keep trying,
like a puppy.
So communication,
it just keeps coming back. I want to be loved.
Communication has to happen in order for me to understand why. Because if you're just pulling away, like, one, that's going to do one of two things. Either it's going to cause me to try again a different way, or to be like, okay, well, she doesn't want it, so I guess I'm solo, And so that's where it happens, when it's those non-verbal things can force me to make up something in my head of like, okay, well, what's my next move here?
And that was the biggest takeaway for me when we were talking offline on this, is that I can speak up and say, hey, I'm closed this week, or whatever the reason. What do you need from me? How can we still be intimate? I mean, that would be a game changer, instead of us just tiptoeing around. And like I said, then the solo acts happen maybe innocently.
Yeah.
And then lead to bigger issues in marriages.
Right. And I think, what you're talking about there is if it's a time where you can't or just don't want to, but that solo act transforms into like semi-solo where your spouse is involved, then it's not just solo. You're still choosing your spouse. There's a satisfaction that comes out of that for the one spouse who was initiating, and there's also, I think, a satisfaction that would come from the other spouse of being like, okay, cool, good, I got to do that.
Yeah.
So, and so I think that then the third part of this was like,
I'm ready for this question.
I just looked up and I saw her face, and I was like, oh boy, we have the same notes, and I thought I was about to get in trouble for what I was about to read, so.
I'm just excited to are you going to the next question?
I was going to finish the last part of this one.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The last part of this one was, women need more time to be ready for sex.
Oh, okay.
But men are ready immediately. And I think there's a tension there as well. And I think that plays back into the last part that we talked about as well, about like women starting to think about it earlier on in the day and more frequently, things like that. I think that will help. But, if you're going to have to speak to this part more than I can, but if as a woman, it's going to take you longer to be ready, and I come to initiate, and in your brain you say, okay, here's the 30-minute countdown to the event. Am I really into like all this lead up? Do I really want to like go through with this 30 minutes plus then the actual event? Maybe you add a little insight on that one.
I was ready to move on, but I will stay here and say yes. This was me, and so. Again, not to stereotype, but just speaking from what we know from a male and female perspective, it's almost annoying. That's like you, or I was saying guys, but you can just like turn it on and be ready as soon as you like see me. And I'm like, I'm not ready for that thing. Like, I need to unwind, get mentally prepared, give me a massage or whatever. I've got to relax to get to the finish line. And
to get to the starting line for me.
This is true. And I said before we hit record, what was my answer?
You say your answer.
Well, that used to be me for years, and now if someone would ask me, I'm like, buy lube. It's like...
I'd get canceled if I said that.
Okay, that's what I was waiting to see. Somebody endorsed me on that now, because I think I felt like I needed to get there on my own to show you I was attracted to you, I can perform, I can do this. And then I don't know if it
was some sort of badge of honor or something? Yeah.
So I don't know if it was... I used to, but now it's like I'm a lot older now than when I was 19 when we got married, or I have 4 kids. Like, every kid has changed that. mentally there's a lot more on my brain. It just, then finally when I caved and I'm like, we're just going to bring this accessory to our intimate times, I've enjoyed him so much more. We've been able to just get there, and that connection has been stronger. So
yeah, and something that you said, like that, talking about it like being a badge of honor. Like you've always said this statement about birthing children.
Childbirth.
Yeah. About, you compared, you haven't compared these two things, I'm comparing them now, but you've always said that, having an epidural when you give birth to a child, that there is nothing in the world,
I said there's no trophy
bragging
big
rights, no trophy big enough to make you do it without an epidural. That's not saying anyone who hasn't had an epidural, like, props to you,
no,
right? I mean,
I'm like, you get a gold star from me, but for me personally, you can't give me a big enough prize. I tried, and I was like, I still remember when I was in labor with my daughter, and they're like, do you want an epidural? And I'm like, what do you think? Like, don't ask me twice. I am done trying. And that's funny you brought that up, but that's where I'm like, do you want lube? What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I'm alluding to, is that, if I know those are two wacky comparisons, but like, why have the badge of honor, right? Like, what's the point of the badge of honor? Again, if having that mental badge of honor leads to you then making a decision 50% of the time, again, just a random number, saying, no, I'm not into it today because I don't want to have that ramp up time.
Yeah.
Then, to this other spouse transitioning, or me transitioning to a solo act, which then pushes things a whole different direction, what's the point?
Right.
Like, just lay down the pride and
get lube.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Just, again, we'd love to hear your comments on that. Please let us know what you think. But I think that's...
Tag a lube company.
Well, hey, we've got one for you, right? So we partner with a company called Romantic Blessings, and lube is one of the things that they sell. They offer a safe, no nudity website for you to go and find all different kinds of products to spice up your intimate life.
From toys to lingerie.
Yep. And they also have, I just saw it on their social media the other day, they have like educational materials on like how to use certain things, what products are good, like things like that. So go check them out. We'll leave a link to them in the description. It's an affiliate link, so you'll get a discount when you click our link for anything that you buy there. And that's a special link from us that having to do with our partnership with Romantic Blessings. And they've been a great partner all along ever since we started.
Yeah, what I love Romantic Blessings is they're Christian owners like we are. And so it felt comfortable, a safe place. I'll just speak from like the lingerie aspect. It's not something I want you to be looking at, or even going in stores and seeing these half-naked women in that, and I'm like, I don't look like that. Right. Even scrolling on Amazon to find something simple is just kind of like, it depletes me.
Right.
I don't know if it's going to fit me like that. So I love being able to look at a site that has the items but no like person in it.
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes
sometimes they're just pictures of the actual items. Sometimes they have a mannequin, but it's not realistic.
Supermodel.
Like, yeah, exactly. And so I think that it really is that safe place, that no nudity, and that they really do a good job with that, and they've stuck to that for all the time that we've been partners with them. So click the link, go check them out, and
buy lube. What are you pointing to me at?
Okay, so now the question that you've been waiting for this whole episode. So let's talk about the double standard here. So why is it that some view male consumption of media or pornography different than female consumption of media or pornography, or even romance novels.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to speak to it, because I think, again, stereotyping, I'm sorry, but maybe for the average woman, if you talk about pornography, you would say that's a male problem. That's a male's going to look at porn, the pictures, the videos. They need that for their solo outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just, over the years now, been realizing like how easy it is for a female to go right down that road mentally. And there are females that are still drawn to the male pictures and video. I don't have experience with that. I'm just going to speak to my own conviction on, there are shows out there that have even been, recommended, and I'm like watching. I love the drama of it, the storyline, the costumes, whatever. And then there's a whole on sex scene, and it's like, am I watching porn right now? And you can gravitate to that because it's a storyline and all that, and then you're fantasizing about that, bringing that into our marriage, and it's just not real. Again, back to the models that they choose and the perfect, dress and the perfect scene, and they don't have the 30-minute ramp up. They just get it done. So I've been convicted that what am I watching? Did I go and say, I'm going to go look at porn? No. But what shows and movies are we allowing ourselves to be exposed to?
Yeah, exposure is a key word there. Yeah.
And then same with if you're no, I don't watch that. Julie, what are you doing? But I was reading a book. I usually love self-help books, and, people think that's boring. They're like, you need to read a novel and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I read a novel, this romance novel I started with, and I'm like, oh my goodness, when you're reading even just a kissing scene or something, your mind's just go, and that's when that's why I was excited about this question, because I'm like, it is a double standard. I have not chosen to or wanted to look at porn and go down that road and affect our marriage, but I've had to really check myself of what other things have I just even innocently put my mind around that has affected us, whether, because then you're romanticizing over this. That's not true romance or true intimacy, or this mind game, whether putting, you compared to what I'm reading or seeing, or myself. And then I'm underperforming because I'm not going to get there because I'm not what I'm seeing.
Which then leads to all the other problems we've already discussed.
Exactly.
And I think that what you bring up is just a sexualized version of keeping up with the Joneses, right? And so if you're, we've all heard the stories of Instagram's a highlight reel, and you're scrolling through and you're like, oh, they went to Disney, oh, they got a new car. I mean, this is no different than that, just a sexualized version of it. And I think that's going to create self-esteem issues, even if it's not, anything hardcore or anything like that. It's still going to create those issues. That exposure over time is going to create those issues in your marriage. And I think it even comes back to, just some of the trashy reality shows too. Yeah. I mean, even the ones that, don't have any of the sex scenes or nude scenes or anything like that, they push the line right up to the edge, right? And I mean, I'm not trying to call you out in front of everyone, but you watched The Bachelor for a long time. Yeah. And at some point you just had to make the decision of this is not good for my mental health. What is this doing for me? Yeah. What is the benefit of this to me? Now, you make your own choices about what you want to watch, but if you feel like it's affecting you in some way, you have to check yourself, and that you have to kind of wake up and shake yourself out of that scenario and realize, okay, maybe this isn't good for me. Maybe I'll find something else to fill my time.
Yeah, it was not edifying my marriage.
That's a good way to put it.
I cut that out. I don't judge people, because it was the crave for so long. But that's why I was excited about this question of the double standard, because I think it absolutely is. And guys get a bad rep around porn, and I'm girls are falling into the trap just in a different way.
Yeah, I agree. So how do we tie this all in biblically,
Yeah.
right? There's, I mean,
The Bible has a lot to say about sex.
It really does, yeah. Go read it. There's plenty. If you want to get away from those trashy reality shows, go read the Bible. But the passage that we kind of found for this that I think makes the most sense, and it's I've got 4 verses here, so it's 1 Corinthians 7, 2 through 5. And so just hang with me for this whole thing, because this is probably going to stir up some people as well, the way it starts. But because of the temptation let's try that one more time. But because of the temptation to sexual immorality, let's try that one more time. But because of the temptation to sexual immorality, each man should have his own wife and each woman her own husband. So that's just one each, right? Like that's just one spouse. Like it's just basically saying you only have one person. And continues on, the husband should give to his wife her conjugal rights, meaning sex, and likewise the wife to her husband. For the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. A lot of people stop there. And you have to continue on from that, because that's the part that, will get you canceled. But if you continue on, it also then says, likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except perhaps by agreement for a limited time, that you may devote yourselves to prayer, then come together again. And so basically there are a few things here. One, it's saying don't deny each other. That's going to lead to everything that we already talked about. Denying each other of things, going on a solo act, it's just going to cause problems. So basically, it's not also saying that I can walk up to you and demand it, because it says you don't control your own body. Don't misinterpret, don't skew the Bible to make it in favor of you. But it's basically saying don't reject each other. That's a great moment to be able to share. It's literally the best part of marriage.
God designed sex.
So, and so
together.
Right. So there's that. Don't deprive one another, except perhaps by an agreement for a limited time. This is an interesting one, because we've talked this whole episode about what do you do if one's rejecting, or if there's this gap in frequency, desire. But you can also choose to talk to each other and say, hey, let's choose not to do this for a week, a month, whatever your time frame is, and then let's come back together and see if that re-sparks your intimacy. Now, in doing that, you have to still avoid the other things, the solo acts and stuff like that. But that's kind of the whole point here. Like if you are depriving each other upon agreement for a period of time, you can't then be like, cool, I'm gonna just go watch porn every night.
Right.
That's not depriving yourself. That's basically just depriving your spouse. Right. It's no different than anything we've talked about in this whole episode. So I think that's kind of how this all ties together.
Yeah, but wrap it up there at the end of it. It says, then you said come back together again, so that Satan may not tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Right.
And I think that's a huge self-control, a takeaway. It's easy to be like, I got rejected, I'm not in the mood, whatever, and I'm going to turn to this because it is so, unfortunately, easy to get our hands on pornography, and that's a lack of self-control.
Right.
And that then Satan will tempt you. So you open the door to Satan to enter into your marriage bed.
Yeah.
So go back and read the whole verse there.
Yeah.
Unpacked it. We'll probably post it on our social media so you can read it and talk through it, pray through it.
Yeah. If you open the door to temptation, Satan's going to rip it off the hinges. So.
Mic drop.
Just be aware of that. So, yeah, thanks for joining us in this episode today. This was a good one.
Yeah.
We have more questions.
We do have more questions,
that
so
we
stay tuned.
are out of time for. So we'll make another episode and keep going with some of this and pick up where we left off. So thanks for joining us. Make sure you go follow us on all the social media channels, everything linked in the bio. And make sure you go check out Romantic Blessings.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in the meantime, go buy lube.
Yeah, they're gonna be linked in the bio. And we'll look forward to having you back next week, where together we'll work on marriage one puzzle piece at a time.